Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 16th of September. This is episode 46, so we're rolling right on towards 52 straight episodes here. So going to keep our fingers crossed everybody stays healthy and able to make these so we can hit our year mark. Let's see, almost everybody. Chris is not with us. He's out, I believe he's doing a marketing conference. But we do have Hernan, Marco, and Bradley. How's it going, guys?
Hey everyone, it's good to be here.
Hey everybody, what's up?
Hey guys, it's me, Bradley. And Adam, your video or camera's not working today. What's up with that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a black screen.
Well, it's this awesome new webcam I got, I guess.
Oh
Right.
well, I think it's probably operator error.
Yeah, most likely.
Most likely.
That's too bad.
All right, yeah, now I can see at least your image, so that's better than nothing. But okay, guys, well, we don't have really any announcements other than, like Adam said, we're 6 weeks away from 52 weeks, which is a 1-year anniversary, and we haven't missed a single freaking week yet. So, knock on wood, we'll make it another 6 weeks, and if we do, we're going to be doing something special. We're going to leave it at that. So, but just count on for our 1-year anniversary, we're going to be doing something special. So, guys, be on the lookout for some more announcements as we get closer to it. And there's Adam. Adam, say hi.
How's it going? Sorry about that. That was maybe user error, but we'll never know.
I'd put money on it.
Right.
All right. We got a lot of questions already, so let's just jump right into stuff today and roll through as many as we can. You guys are doing well with posting questions early and ahead of time. That's the only way to get them answered, really, because these continue to fill up. So we're going to start with Carlos. He says, hello, Semantic team. Bradley, you mentioned that you have a template site that has specific plugins that you always use. Question, what are the must-have plugins for any WordPress site, not the security plugins? That's a good question. I mean, I use WordPress SEO, WP Editor. I could probably post a list of the kind of the plugins that I use, but WordFence Security, I know you said don't mention that, but there you go. I do video thumbnails. That's the name of the plugin, video thumbnails. That's great for a lot of video blogs because it will create a thumbnail, the featured image out of a thumbnail that it pulls from the video. So it does it automatically. That's a good plugin. Disable comments. Always put that in. Contact Form 7. Those are pretty standard plugins. Then I use like Backlinks Commando, which we talk about multiple times in our own training and stuff. I use that. Trying to think of some of the other ones.
I use Ninja pop-ups a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what the site's for, because I'll use pop-ups sometimes I don't. You know, it just depends on what the site's for. But, I mean, there's pretty much just a standard handful of plugins that I put on it. Yoast SEO, I think I mentioned that. But if I also have the Yoast Video SEO extension, and also, so I use that a lot, because a lot of the blogs I do are video stuff. So
You did say main WP, right?
yeah, well, main WP child, yeah, because yeah. Because we, you know, I manage most of my sites through that because it just makes it so much easier to update and keep track of stuff. So.
Yeah, it will depend, as you said, Bradley, what you're trying to do, Carlos, with it. For PBNs, for example, Yoast and some security and something like XML sitemaps or better XML sitemaps or Anacache plugin like W3 Total Cache or something like that. That will do too.
And something to keep the juice on site, so something that
right.
301's on by default, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. 404 to start is one of them. A new one that I've been using recently that I like is called 404 to 301. It's 404 TO 301, and that's like it's like Link Juice Keeper or whatever. So it's very similar. You can redirect all the non-existent pages back to your home page. If I'm using Yoast, I use the Yoast XML sitemaps. I don't add an additional plugin because they have a really good sitemap function inside of Yoast. But for PBNs, it's good to switch up like the SEO plugins sometimes, you know, just so you're not leaving the same footprint. So again, just totally depends on what the site's for. But yeah, I mean, there's a handful, like I said, about 6 or 7 plugins that I pretty much install on every single site. If you want a list of them, I'll try to post a list maybe later after this event is over tonight, and you can see it there.
And of
for
course, you can't go without the Semantic Mastery RSS plugin. That's a
right.
must-have.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you're doing IFTTT, I've also found that having some kind of social plugin like DigDig or something like that, especially on PBNs, it helps with the you'll get some social signals, but it helps appearing as a legit website. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I like one called Social Media Feather for that, and I like it because it doesn't. If you guys put a social media, a floating social bar plugin on your WordPress site, you'll notice if you go check it in GTmetrix, it'll slow your load time way down. And it's because it's calling the API to see what the social counts are on those counter bars, and so it really does slow the page load down. So like I like to use a plugin called Social Media Feather because it does not call the counts until you actually click on one of the social media icons, and then it will call the count. So it doesn't slow the page load. So I do like that plugin quite a bit. So.
And then another plugin that I like to use is the one for the Facebook widget, and then maybe Twitter. But if I put the Facebook widget on there, I won't do the Twitter, and if I do the Twitter, I won't do the Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just adds variation, and just to keep constant, fresh content on that web page. So when the bot comes in, it just sees new content over and over and over and over.
Yeah, and I would suggest, and I've started doing the Twitter widget a lot recently because of the Ninja Twitter recipes that we've been working with inside Semantic Mastery because of the RYS Academy. And guys, Twitter SEO Academy is coming out very shortly. That'll be our next product launch or product release. It'll be inexpensive. I think. What's the price point on that going to be? Like $147, I think.
Right now, yeah, we're planning for $147. We're trying to keep the cost down so that we could keep it at that price range.
Yeah, and it's awesome, guys. Twitter, because there's this whole bromance going on between Twitter and Google right now. Twitter is a great source of traffic, but it's also really good for SEO now. And so installing a Twitter widget, when you can set up automated recipes that can pull in content very specific to your niche into your Twitter feed, and then you can just put a Twitter widget on your site, that's going to keep relevant and fresh content constantly on your site, which is great for all sites, really. So that's coming out very soon. Mastermind members get that included, obviously for free as part of their membership. Everyone else, it'll be rather inexpensive, and nobody else is teaching this kind of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, Carlos, number 2, he says, when buying backlinks for your Tier 2, do you like plain URLs or anchor text better? A mix, Carlos. For Tier 2 backlinks, I use a mix of generic terms and very broad keywords, not exact match keywords, but broad keywords. So, for example, like if it was Dallas plumber, I might use plumber, or plumbing contractor, plumbing company, that sort of thing as the anchor text, but then I'll also use generics and then URL anchors, like you said. Okay? Just remember, if you're going out, guys, Tier 2 links, or when you're buying Tier 2 links, you don't really want a whole bunch of exact match anchors. You actually want very little of them, because Google's looking out 2 levels now at your anchor text profile, and it wouldn't be natural to be linking with exact match anchors to Tier 1 links for the most part. You can link with Tier 2 links with brand terms, though, however, depending on what you're linking to. So, for example, if you're building links to your Tier 1 IFTTT properties, and it's a branded Tier 1 network, then you could be linking with brand anchors to your, like, say, WordPress.com or Blogger or Twitter or whatever, because it makes sense. It's a branded property. So you can make some brand anchors in there as well, and that actually would look natural.
Hey, Bradley, you know what I've seen working really well?
What's that?
Is if you link an entire sentence that actually answers the question with the keyword somewhere in there. It doesn't have to be in sequence, but as long as the keyword is in there, that Google figures it out.
Right.
And so that works really well.
Yeah, the newspaper does that a lot. So that's a pretty cool technique if you're doing, and it will allow you to do some conversational searches. That's pretty cool, because Google will then, they are trying to keep answering the questions from the user. So conversational keywords that will add a lot of value.
Well, that's what Hummingbird was all about. Hummingbird is what actually made the Google algorithm. It basically replaced the search engine with the semantic web engine, which is Google's version of the semantic web search engine, and that was really what it was about. It was about longer tail kind of conversational type queries, because a lot of people are doing searches via mobile device now, and instead of typing, they click the little microphone icon and speak their query. And so that's what Hummingbird was all about, being able to provide search results based on, or understanding more complex queries based on natural speech patterns. And so, like what they're saying with using long sentences or long phrases as anchor text is actually a really good way, because it can reinforce and actually help you to show up for like mobile searches when people are speaking the search queries in. That's a great way to optimize, as well as like what Marco said, you don't have to have your keywords, guys, anymore, and this has been for quite some time now. So for example, like let's say we'll say plumber Atlanta GA. People always try to optimize for crap like that, right? But you don't need to do that. You could optimize for looking for a plumber in Atlanta, something like that. So the point is the keywords occur in that phrase, but they don't have to be exact match, like side by side. They don't, as long as they occur within the sentence. And on another note, just so you know this, you can have a raw, like a naked URL, with a keyword preceding it or after it, just in close proximity to the URL, and it will pass relevance that way as well. So, that's another good strategy. If you're building backlinks and you're doing contextual links, you can have the keyword in a phrase prior to or following a naked URL, and that will actually pass keyword relevancy, depending on how close it is in proximity, back through that link. Okay, because remember, Google's algorithm is becoming more and more advanced all the time, guys. Welcome to the semantic web. So that's what it's looking for, is semantic relationships between words, and then it will pass that relevancy even through naked URLs. So hopefully that answered your question, Carlos. We'll move on. Adrian says, hi, guys. I recently received a strike on my YouTube account from Google. Ouch, that sucks. And was hoping you might be able to help. Although Google let me know the reason for the strike, sort of, I thought I would just check if you guys had anything helpful to add. They said the reason was third-party content, which I'm guessing might mean duplicate content. I'm using my channel to promote affiliate offers, by the way. It can, yeah. I've had third-party content flags before. I've never got an actual strike. But a lot of the time, most of the time that I've ever seen that happen on my own channels is when I've had music that was copyrighted. And so what I'll do is I'll go in and delete. I haven't got a strike, though. I've gotten a flag. So I've gone in, and if there's no speech that I have to worry about on the video, then you can actually use the YouTube editor to replace the audio and get rid of the copyrighted audio. Just use something that's in their Creative Commons library. But if you have speech, obviously you can't. You'd have to pretty much just delete the video, re-render it with a new background music track or whatever, and then re-upload it. Now, I don't know that that's particularly your situation, Adrian, but that's, if you also have third-party content, if you copy somebody else's video, for example, you download it and then upload it on your channel, and they catch you, they can report it as copyright infringement, and then you can catch a strike that way as well. I have been fortunate enough that, first of all, I don't do that anymore, but I used to do that years ago. I would copy other people's video, or even just sections of their video, edit out sections of their video to include in my own videos, and I actually had a tree service company for lead gen videos that I was doing. I had another tree service company contact me via YouTube and told me that they saw that I had used sections of their video in my own, and that they were going to report me unless I took them down. And unfortunately, I had used a section of their video, about, like, I don't know, 35 or 36 videos. So I had to go in and actually delete all those videos and start over. But luckily, they didn't give me a strike. They could have, but they were cool enough to at least reach out to me first and give me the opportunity to take them down. But most people don't give you that option. They'll just go report your ass, especially if they feel that you're a threat. So, you guys got anything to add to that?
No, I think you nailed it, probably.
No, read through the question, so you'll get to it.
Okay, I was trying out live events for the first time and struggling a bit. When I edited the video after I had finished, I had noticed after I had received the strike that the unedited version was still on my channel. Could this have been deemed to be a copy of the edited version which was deleted? I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be duplicate content, as I think you mentioned that live event videos were always unique. Yeah, they should be. I don't think that's the issue. Again, only if you were trying to live stream a pre-recorded video that was somebody else's content. That's not an. Again, if it wouldn't be the YouTube algorithm, that picks up the duplicate content. It would be somebody finds it and reports it. That's one way to catch a strike. Okay. I did, however, have the same video uploaded on the normal way to the same channel, so wondered if this would constitute duplicate content, as in it was the same video as the live events one. No. If you guys, again, if you try to upload a traditional or standard upload a video and it's the exact same file, YouTube won't even allow you to do it. It will give you a red warning error, and it will say duplicate content or something like that, duplicate video, duplicate file, something like that. I know because I've done it. I've done it on accident where I've uploaded a video in one tab and then forgot that I had uploaded it, and in another tab I tried to upload it, and it will flag it. It won't allow you to do it. So, but if you change the file or you live stream it, it will allow it. Okay? And so, and I've never seen anybody getting a third-party content flag from uploading the same video twice to their channel. It has to be third-party content, which means it's somebody else's content that you're using. Okay? And again, most of the time I've seen that is from music. However, people can if somebody says that you're using images that you took from their website or whatever, they can report it, and you can catch a strike that way. Okay, regarding the description, I had my description rewritten on Fiverr and was wondering about Copyscape. If the guys on Fiverr put a rewritten description through Copyscape checking against a description that I haven't yet posted, it would show that it was indeed unique because I hadn't yet posted the original. Then when I do post the original, it is flagged up? Or do the guys on Fiverr put the original in their own versions through Copyscape to check? Sorry, but never used Copyscape. Well, I don't know, because I don't know that the Fiverr guys do Copyscape check stuff. And how do you confirm that? You'd have to check it yourself.
Yeah.
You know? And guys, Copyscape's cheap. Go spend put $20 in Copyscape. It's 5 cents per Copyscape check. So go put $20 in there, and you get 20 checks per dollar. So you can do what, 400 checks for $20, and those credits last a year. So go put $10 or $20 in Copyscape. It's called Copyscape Premium. And that way you can check your own descriptions and stuff if you want. However, I've never seen a description cause a third-party content.
Yeah, and that said, Adrian, if you're worried about this, I mean, it sounds like you're making this way too complicated for yourself. Just don't use something that could possibly be a duplicate. Just don't do it.
Yep.
So
make it original. Yep. That's right. I mean, honestly, Adrian, because this is a lot of work for something that, obviously I would just say, try to create your own content instead of using somebody else. It sounds like you used somebody else's content is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, and if you're doing Fiverr, sometimes you can contact the provider and ask them to pass their content through Copyscape, and they will likely do it unless they are doing something with duplicate content. If that's the case, you know what to do.
Number 4 says, since the video has been deleted by YouTube, I can't check, but there is a possibility that I mistakenly put the same description in the 2 videos. Again, I've never seen a third-party remember, a third-party content issue is you're using somebody else's content, that whether it's the video, the music, images, anything. I've never seen a description cause that. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen. I've never seen it. So I don't think the descriptions have anything to do with that, honestly. I think it has to do with the video content itself. I could be wrong, but that would be my assumption. He says, in which case I suppose I have to hold my hands up. Unfortunately, I've lost the use of the live events on the channel. Do you know if and when I might be able to use them again? Yeah, 6 months. First of all, delete the videos that's being flagged if it's not already deleted. Delete the videos that are being flagged, and then make sure that you don't do anything else spammy with that channel for 6 months, and then that strike should be lifted. Okay. All right, hopefully that helps. Jack Joseph says, hi, I know that you have referenced Tony Hayes' IFTTT software. If I am short on time and resources to get the IFTTT setups done right and quickly, do you recommend the software to help me with this problem? I have like other stuff he has done. Thanks. Jack, if you use software to set up your networks. They're not going to be nearly as effective as if you set them up manually. If you don't have time to set them up manually, purchase them from us. Honestly, I mean, you could hire a VA and train them to do it yourself. That's perfectly fine. But then if you're short on time, you have to work. You got to put the time in to train them, or you can hire us to do it. And we've got done-for-you networks that are set up properly, themed correctly. They have strong identities and/or strong brands, and they're very effective.
Yeah, and Jack, just in case you don't know the difference, so I mean, I've used that software too, and I just wanted to check it out. I forget, and don't quote me on the numbers here, but I think you could open accounts on something like maybe 5 to 8 different types of platforms, but then I think some of them started getting shut down, or it wasn't able to really do it reliably. And then so it's kind of making these ones what Bradley would call orphaned accounts. It opens them up, but then they're not connected to each other, and that's it. It just makes these kind of ghost accounts, which it has its purpose, but it's not the same as having these interconnected, having them themed, having a persona behind it, things like that. So just so you know, by all means, use it for what you want to, or do it our way. But it's kind of two different things. So
right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't only happens with Tony Hayes software. I mean, if you use FCS Networker, if you're using MonoRobot or Xenoposter, whatever software you're using to create IFTTT accounts, they will get the same treatment because they are automated. That's why we don't automate it.
Yeah, all the stuff that we in our done-for-you networks, they're created manually by a team of VAs, virtual assistants. So they're all manually created, they're all themed, they're all interconnected or interlinked with each other, phone-verified accounts, the whole nine. So they're just much more effective. Okay. Lynn says, my question is, if I create an RSS feed from a blog that is being supplied content from my video uploads on YouTube, example blogger, can I create an RSS feed from that blog and feed it to my newly created recipes as per your blog Excel sheet I downloaded? Sure you can. Of course you can, Lynn. Sure you can. You can feed an IFTTT network with any sort of RSS feed. Okay? So it could be your main money site if you have one, like a self-hosted WordPress or whatever platform you're using. It could be a Weebly RSS feed. It could be Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress.com. Anything that has an RSS feed. Shit, you can feed an IFTTT network with Twitter. And even in Twitter, you don't even need an RSS feed. You can though, and in fact, somebody actually shared a Twitter RSS feed generator in, I think it was Valerie Tobin, inside the IFTTT SEO Academy. Anything that has an RSS feed, Lynn, you can use to feed an IFTTT network. Okay. In fact, let's just go look at that really quickly. That's not it. That's not it. Valerie Tobin shared in the IFTTT SEO Academy a new Twitter RSS feed generator. I haven't tested it yet, but it looked easy to use. And so check it out if you're already inside the Academy. It's in the Facebook group.
If not, we did a Webby on it, so.
Yeah. Caesar Cabo says, what is the best way to do keyword research and on-page SEO for local lead gen? I've read that Google's latest algorithm update eliminates the need to target geo-modified keywords such as niche plus city. I would not believe that article. But I've noticed that in some niches, doing just the broad keywords like plumbing service will return a lot of national results. Exactly, Caesar. That's why you want to add the geo-modifier. Maybe 1 or 2 local results. For other niches, typing in only the broad search with without the geo-modifier returns a lot of local results. It also depends on what kind of device you're searching from. If you're searching from a desktop or a laptop, a lot of the times if you type in just the broad keywords, it is going to return national results mixed with local results. But on a mobile device, if you search for normal like broad keywords, it will often just return local results. So it depends on the device you're on, and that's why I recommend you still use the geo-modifier. But like we were mentioning earlier in the first question, you don't have to optimize the content for like plumber Atlanta GA, which is what people still do. They still hammer that away, hammer away at that keyword phrase, exact match, because they think that that's what they need to do. They don't need to do that. You don't need to do that anymore. You just need to have, in the most important place for you to have the geo-modifier is in the title tag, okay, which is the SEO title, the meta title. All right, and then to have it just in the content a couple of times, that's it. And the keyword density thing that from years ago, people saying, every 100 words you should have the keyword. Now you don't need to do that anymore. You just need to have it mentioned a couple times. Google's algorithm is good enough, All right. If you've already got it in the domain, by the way, you certainly don't need to mention it more than in the title tag. That makes sense. So let me open something up real quick because this is worth covering. I know we got a lot of questions to get through.
Hey, Bradley,
Yes, sir.
while you're doing that, my suggestion to him would be to mimic a mobile search, and you could do that through BlueStacks, right? BlueStacks and a local IP, and then type in the keyword without the modifier, with and without, and see what kind of result you get on mobile, just to see how it behaves, and then he can optimize that way.
Yeah. Agreed. So again, anybody that tells you that that's not important anymore, they don't do SEO. Honestly, because if you do local SEO, you'll realize that it's absolutely still necessary, at least for all the niches I work in, to have the local modifier, at least a couple strategic places, a couple key places. And so what I'm showing you here, guys, this is through my testing, the 4 most important places that you need to be aware of when you're optimizing a page. And the first 4 things that the Google bot looks at when it comes to crawl your page is the SEO title, number 1, the URL, number 2, number 3 would be the page title, or what's called the H1 tag. Most all WordPress themes by default, the page title will be an H1 tag, and in the meta description. And I can't tell you how many people I've read or heard said meta descriptions don't count anymore. Well, they actually do, and there's 2 things about a meta description that are important. Number 1, first, let me get through this. The exact match keyword, I only need or care if the exact match keyword, like plumber Atlanta GA, the only place that I would ever use that exact match keyword would be in the SEO title, and that's what shows up in the search results. Okay, and then I'll do like plumber Atlanta GA dash and then phone number, although that's kind of a double-edged sword now, putting the phone number in the title tag, only because you want to entice a click-through now, because not getting a click-through can actually hurt you, because it becomes, click-through rate is a huge metric right now for ranking. But that's beside the point. For keyword sake purposes, or keywords purposes, I would put the exact match title in the SEO title, or excuse me, the exact match keyword in the SEO title. URL, I try to keep it short and succinct. If you got a partial match, that's okay, but I would not put the exact match like what old school SEO would tell you. You want to repeat the exact match keyword in the URL. I don't do that anymore. Page title, the H1 tag, I use a variation of the keyword. It does not have to be like plumber Atlanta, Georgia. It could be a plumbing company, what to look for in a plumbing company in Atlanta, Georgia, or what to look for in something like that. I use a conversational type title that basically announces what the rest of the content on the page is going to be about. So it's like a full sentence. It's not just a keyword, and it usually LSI keyword. Lastly, the meta description. The meta description, do not put an exact match keyword in. Put a variation of it, but use that as a call to action, like ad copy, because that's what's going to differentiate you and entice a higher click-through on the search results pages. If you have a strong call to action in your meta description, you can work a keyword into there. I just wouldn't make it exact match. I would only put 1 exact match keyword in any of these 4, and my choice is always going to be the SEO title. But you want to optimize the meta description to entice a click-through and make it stand out. You want it to be like almost like ad copy for like Google AdWords. You want it to be really strong call to action, very compelling, in other words. Okay. All right. So he says, I've always been a little confused as how you gauge potential traffic when researching keywords. As far as the keyword research, Caesar, I would recommend. I use Power Suggest Pro to find keywords. Now, depending on the niche, if it's a very narrow niche, you might not get much results returned. But I like to use Power Suggest Pro to find out keywords that are suggested phrases based on my seed set of keywords. And I use that because those I know absolutely have traffic, and especially they provide mobile traffic. A lot of mobile traffic comes from suggested phrases. And that's because if you start to search on a smartphone, guys, take out your smartphone, go to google.com and start typing in a local search phrase, and you'll see half of your phone is the touchpad keyboard, right? Half of the screen, and the other half is suggested phrases. So a lot of traffic comes through from Google Suggest on mobile. So I use Power Suggest Pro to find those, and then, like I said, if you have a very narrow niche, you might be difficult to find keywords. But for most larger cities, or yeah, you'll find suggested phrases nonetheless. Okay.
That's sorry, Bradley. That's semanticmastery.com/power suggest, right? In case somebody wants to check it out.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Semantic. Is it Adam on top of it? He usually is.
Yep. Sorry, what link are you looking for?
Power Suggest.
Yeah, I'll toss it in there real quick.
Okay. He says it's always been a little. I've always been a little confused as how to gauge potential traffic when researching keywords and with or without the geomodifier and keyword planner. Guys, the keyword planner is an AdWords tool. It's not an SEO tool. You can use it as kind of a reference point, but it is not an SEO tool. Okay, it's an AdWords tool. It's for people purchasing or bidding for pay-per-click. Okay, so you can look again. You can gauge as a benchmark, kind of as a reference point, but do not count on the keyword planner, keyword data for SEO. All right? There are other tools. Power Suggest Pro is beautiful. There's another one that just is being relaunched again that a lot of people like to use. What's it called? Longtail Pro. There's another one by Peter Drew, RankSpy, that does competition research, which is actually really cool. It's a great tool. It's got a monthly expense, but it's a very powerful tool. I use a combination of Power Suggest Pro. I go to the Keyword Planner first to get ideas. Then I go to Power Suggest Pro, and then I go to RankSpy. And those are the three keyword tools I use religiously. Okay? Let's see. The last one would be, I'm sorry. If you rank on page 1 for a keyword with geomodifier, would it be safe to assume that you would also rank on the first page without the geomod? It depends on which device, Caesar. Again, it's somebody searching from. If it's from a desktop, there's a likely chance that you would not rank. But from a mobile device, if somebody's in your local area for that keyword, then there's a very good chance it will rank. But also make sure your site is mobile optimized, or else you won't. I know it's good to put the NAP on your site to help Google find you locally, but what if you don't have a maps listing? Should you just make up a local address? Does having NAP on your site make a big difference in local search? Well, it does if you have an address. I wouldn't put a fake one on there though, not unless if you're worried about it, go rent a PO box and use the street address so that you actually have a local address. That's what I do. Okay. Having the NAP on your site is important, but actually you don't even need to have it visible on your site anymore. You can have it in the header using JSON-LD, structured data markup. And that's what we've been teaching that inside the masterclass. Caesar, I believe you have access to that. Go back to the local case study that we did, and you'll see exactly where the JSON-LD markup, structured data markup is, and we did a whole training on it. Okay, with examples and everything. Plus, isn't Caesar in the mastermind, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. We did a whole webinar on it inside the mastermind, Caesar. It's very important. Having structured data on your site, if you have an address, is very, very important. But you guys, even if you don't have an address, I think you can still put same as attribute in the header, can't you, Marco? Would you know that? For same as
that again?
Even if you don't have a local address, you could still use structured data and use the same as attribute.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
To point to all your other properties, your other special.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I've been doing it for some affiliate sites that I've been developing recently, and they look, the Google structured data testing tool, it lights up like Christmas. So. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. And again, Caesar, I believe you're in the mastermind, so you can go back and search our webinars, the webinar replays category in the mastermind, and you'll see we did a whole entire webinar specifically about structured data markup. So, lastly, should your anchor text backlinks include geomodifier? No, not anymore. The reason why, guys, and it's especially the last part of this, is it says if your site has the city name and the URL or the meta. I don't know what you mean about the meta, but as far as having it in the URL, then no, because anytime you build a naked URL link, which everybody says, you got to use naked URLs. Well, that's true, but if you have an exact match domain, then so you've got your exact match keywords in the domain, guys, that can get you into trouble for over optimization and trigger a penguin penalty. So I recommend that you don't use EMDs anymore. But if you have one, that's fine. Just use more generic, brand, or broad keywords in your anchor text. And you don't need to include the geo modifier because that looks unnatural. There's basically, you want to build. If you go to the Google Keyword Planner and you look at search volume, which again, it's AdWords search stuff that you're looking at, but you can use it as a benchmark, as a reference, right? But if you look at it, and let's say Dallas Plumber or Atlanta Plumber, let's use Atlanta Plumber. Let's say that gets searched 120 times per month. Then you need to look at how many times that keyword phrase gets searched per month, and then you don't want to build, let's say, 50 links in a month with that exact match keyword anchor back to your site, because that would be an unnatural ratio of searches to inbound links, new inbound links, because that's just unnatural. Nobody would link to that many times with that kind of a keyword phrase. So I don't even use exact match anchors in my keywords, exact match keywords as my anchors anymore, except for every now and then if I need a boost, I'll get a SAP link, something really, really powerful, and I'll use an exact match anchor in that, but that's only if I have a very diverse anchor text profile already. And then I'm just trying to really hammer home a specific anchor. And that's when I'll use like a really powerful SAP link or something like that to boost it. Okay. Wow, these questions are deep today. Let's keep going. Bill Thomas says, I have at least 400 domain names relating to the IM field in one GoDaddy account. Some have been in there for 7 years. The newest is 3 years old. All have the same ownership info. Okay, if I want to use some in a PBN, I realize I need to mix up the hosting and site platforms, but what can I do to change the domain name registration info other than just making them private? Also, is there anything else I should be doing? What would BB do? Thanks, guys. Well, you could set up other GoDaddy accounts under personas and then push them into those accounts. You know, since if you have control, Bill, over other persona accounts that you set up, which you should anyways, right? If you're on this webinar or posting questions on this events page, you should have multiple personas already set up because of the IFTTT training, right? So you can set up new GoDaddy accounts underneath those different personas and push those domains from your account into the persona accounts, at which time they would be considered new domain registrations. You know what I mean? So that's one way you can do it. Anybody else got any suggestions on that?
Yeah, I was about to say that you could, he could also push them to, for example, I would take them out if he has like, how many? 400 domain names. I would also, you know, take them down and take them out, from GoDaddy only, and go, for example, to Namecheap or something like that. You know, to diversify a little bit. I think now here's something that I've been thinking. I have an agency, you know, and sometimes a lot of times we have, you know, domains that are not our own. I mean, there are clients' domains that they decide, you know, they don't want to open a Namecheap or GoDaddy account or whatever. So, you know, we're registered for them, but the registered name would be theirs, you know, the technical content and whatnot. So I'm just kind of, you know, holding the account or the domain in my account, but it's not mine. It's the registered name.
Yeah.
So we should need to. I know that Google is a registrant as well, so you can have a lot of domains that aren't actually yours. You know, so just to diversify a little bit, you can push them into a Namecheap account, for example, or use different registered names and contact names.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He says, also meant to ask, when I join the mastermind, do I get the masterclass as well? Yes, Bill, of course you do. You get everything that we have included in your mastermind membership, 100%. Anything under $300 is included, including access to all of our other membership programs, and then anything over $300 is a 30% discount if you so choose to purchase. So, Earl says, is there any reason why you cannot have IFTTT recipes that push both blog posts and YouTube videos to the same network? No, there's no reason you can't, Earl. You certainly can. So if you've got a channel that's syndicating to a branded network, for example, and then you've got a website, a money site that's also syndicating to the same, I just recommend that you don't take a video that you upload to your channel and then embed that into a post and paste and publish a post on your site of the same video, because then your networks are going to have basically duplicate posts, 2 posts targeting the same thing. Now, if you switch it up, if you have a video that syndicates from your channel, but then you use that same video on a blog post, but the content is different, like the written content, the title's slightly different, that sort of thing, that's fine too. So there's no reason you can't dual purpose it. Feel free to do so. Florian's got a bunch here. He is.
Point.
Wow. All right, Florian. Everybody else can go home because Florian's just gonna. We're gonna spend the rest of the time with him. He says, I landed a client who wants me to get him on top of Google for 10 different locations for 2 main activities, plumbing and locksmiths. It's kind of an odd combination. I'm planning on creating 10 different subdomains, 1 for each city, so a total of 20 total subdomains. Then I will order 20 IFTTT networks from you guys, 1 for each subdomain. Right on, Florian. Bring it. But I don't want to do all the work for this client without warranties, so I'm planning to duplicate the client subdomains on one of my own domain and then 301 on a subdomain by subdomain and page by page basis to client website. This is an advanced question. This is something we typically won't answer on this, guys, because this is more like reserved for mastermind stuff.
Yeah, he's talking about Switchbox SEO.
Yeah, I know he is, and this is something we don't typically answer on. Let me just finish reading. That way I will build backlinks and everything on my own domain and protect my investment while ranking my client. If I do the strategy, I should create the IFTTT networks on my own subdomains. Okay, I can't answer this. No, create them, Florian, for your clients. If your client is paying you, then I create. Look, I create the IFTTT networks and I charge them a hell of a lot of money to brand it for the client, and then I will. They get to keep the network in case they let me go or decide that they don't need me anymore. They get to keep the network, but that's why I charge them such a premium. Okay, so I understand you're trying to protect yourself, and that's fine, and we teach that. However, there are certain things that just make sense to give to the client. One of them being their IFTTT networks. Okay. What about the citations? Yeah, the citations you build direct to the client site. Don't build them to your own because that wouldn't look right. If they went to Yelp and they saw it pointing back to your domain, which is 301 to their site, then they're going to raise hell with you. You can't do that. You gotta treat your clients correctly. Look, I understand. That's what clients are a pain in the ass. I don't like working with clients much either. But there are some things that you just have to do, and for citations and blog posting and stuff like that, that all goes on the client domain. All right. But any kind of link building that I'm doing outside of citations or IFTTT blog post syndication is all done to a 301 domain that I have control over. Okay. If I connect IFTTT to my own domains when I publish a blog post, no, again, don't do that. Connect the network to their site, do the blog posting on their site. Don't worry about it, okay? Sorry for the long post, needed guidance to set this up. Yeah, that's okay, Florian, but yeah, that's something, again, there's certain things that you just have to provide the client with, and those are some of them. Citations, if you're going to be doing blog syndication, use their IFTTT networks that are theirs, so that the attribution link is pointing back to their domain. Otherwise, you're making double the work anyways. If you have to do the blog posts on your site first, and then go over to their site and post on their blog, duplicate the content, copy the content over, you're going to double your work. And to me, that's not an efficient way to work.
Right. And also, Florian, have in mind that a branded IFTTT network has, all of the contents that belong to the client. That's one of the things that we cannot take when we leave,
That's right.
Because it will have their logo. That's what makes them so powerful, that they have all of those semantic little snippets of text and keywords and whatnot that makes the brand of your client a real brand under Google's eyes. The logo, and we know that Google can recognize images now, so it keeps seeing the image over and over again, and the same metadata and the same description, the keywords, and the content. So that's something that we usually cannot take with us if we decide to leave.
Florian says, following with the previous question, if I want to order IFTTT in bulk, is it better to contact you directly? Yes, contact us through support. We do have bulk options for volume purchasers, and we have a separate order form and separate pricing for that, Florian, so we can certainly accommodate you. But contact us via support. Florian says, I'm on fire today. I also have a new e-commerce client who is in the paving and terrace field. He hired me for doing SEO on really competitive and national keywords. Do you guys have
Florian?
Yeah, good for you, buddy.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Do you guys have any specific advice on tricks for e-commerce? I am not an e-commerce guy. However, what we typically have done in the past, I have done e-commerce stuff. It's not my forte, so to speak. But I will put a blog on a subdomain of the e-commerce site, and install WordPress and then set up IFTTT networks and do blog syndication like I typically would with any other type of site, and use that as the subdomain as a content distribution engine that I manage and control, so that I don't have to worry about trying to optimize e-product pages and everything else. And then I just use contextual links from within the blog post to point to the product pages.
Right.
Okay.
What I've done for e-commerce, Florian, is that you have a good opportunity to use some schema markup for products.
That's right.
For not only for the product description, but for the prices. If you have how do you say it? If you have reviews, if you have stars, you know, all of that click drawing little snippets that you can add to the description, that could work really well for e-commerce. And you have a great opportunity with product descriptions and siloing categories. You know, usually e-commerce sites or e-commerce plugins will help you do that really well.
Yeah.
And videos, tons of product videos, and
Right.
the videos properly marked up also.
Yeah, and targeting
Yep.
product keywords, because you can get a lot of traffic targeting product keywords, and they're generally easier to rank for if you go very specific with product, like, you know, product names and model numbers and stuff like that, because people do search for that kind of stuff, and they're generally a hell of a lot easier to rank because they're so specific.
Yeah, and they have buyer intent too. So if you
Correct.
get your client ranked for that, you not only you will increase their rankings, you will increase their revenue.
That's right, because you're right. When people are searching for specific model numbers of products, they are ready to purchase. Like, they're looking
Right.
for somewhere to purchase it from.
Right.
So, because on that scale, I think I will have to do some white hat stuff. Yeah, if he's paying you a lot of money, then you can. I mean, that's the thing, guys. If you have a budget, a proper marketing budget, then you can do a lot of additional things. You know, you can start doing press release campaigns to generate a shit ton of traffic as well. I mean, there's just so much stuff that you can do if you have a proper budget. So, Kevin says, what would be the best way to use my PBN link to my money site? Then after that, I will use SAPE links to the PBN links. Would it be better to create a post with contextual links to my money site and hit that with SAPE links, or embed a YouTube video that has 2 links in to the money site in the description and hit the embed post with SAPE links? Or combine both and have the YouTube embed plus 1 contextual link? Kevin, links within YouTube descriptions are no-follow links. So they're still valuable links, but if you're looking specifically to push juice, which is why I'm assuming you're going to be using SAPE links, why else would you use them? Don't get me wrong, guys, I love SAPE links. But the whole reason we use them is to push juice. And so hitting a no-follow link is not going to help. You still want to do the video with because you can drive traffic to your product offer or through that link, right? So you still want to have the links to your money site in your description of your video regardless. But for pure SEO reasons, yes, the contextual links from your PBN over to your money site is the best way to go. Okay? So, but I mean, you can combine both. You can absolutely combine both and have the YouTube embed plus the 1 contextual link, and that's a great strategy because we all know that Google loves YouTube. So having a YouTube embed on the post is great as well. That's just going to help everything overall. But where your power from the SAPE links is going to come from is the contextual link from your PBN over to your money site. Okay, as a do follow link. Florian says, this is the last one for today, I swear. It better be, Florian. No, I'm kidding. The e-commerce client works with a lot of landscaping companies, and he's planning to do partnerships with them by doing a directory for landscapers. He gave me the idea to really go all in and create a lead gen website for landscapers and dominate all the big cities here in France. But I will not be able to handle all of them, so I was thinking about offering to you guys some sort of partnership to invade France and all the landscaping plus city keywords. I'm also thinking about joining the mastermind, so maybe we'll find inside the mastermind partners that want easy ranking and money. Yeah, Florian, that's what I would recommend. Personally, I don't know about my partners. I can't speak for them, but I can tell you right now, I'm not partnering with anybody for any kind of projects like this because we got too much shit going on in Semantic Mastery, and I just cannot spread myself any more thin. I don't know about my other partners, can't speak for them, but I know that inside the mastermind there are a lot of other really good high-level SEOs that may very well be a great joint venture partner for you.
Yeah, and even in France, I can think of 2 people off the top of my head in the mastermind. So yeah, that'd probably be the place to do it.
Yeah. They're doing. We have a lot of people doing foreign SEO, so I know Florian is up for a treat if he joins the mastermind. So yeah,
That's right.
that would be a
You know,
wise decision.
I can tell you right now, like I don't speak a word of French, but I've ranked videos in France #1 before. So it's like stealing candy from a baby. I wish I spoke French.
Yeah.
It is. Foreign
Um,
SEO, guys, if you, sorry, Bradley, but foreign SEO, it's like crazy easy. Sometimes we, English SEO or US SEO, I should say, it's the biggest market of the world. That's it. That's fine. But if you're going for foreign SEO, you can go for, keywords like I'm doing forex, credit cards, payday loans, those kind of things that are, unless you have deep, deep pockets, you cannot do it on the US or the English market. You can do it and get away with murder on foreign languages.
Yeah. As far as economic model, honestly, it would depend, guys. Whenever I do any kind of JV agreements with anybody, it's a case by case basis. That's something again, Florian, I highly recommend that you join the mastermind because we do have a lot of people in our mastermind. We got like 120 members roughly, and there's a lot of people in there doing some really good stuff that would probably be happy to partner with you and tackle a project like that. So. Ryan says, when using curated content for PBN posts, is it fine to alter the content of the original article? For example, adding your own outgoing links to the content? I would not, Ryan. I would not. You can, because remember, you should only be using very brief, small snippets of the curated content anyways in the article. That's just like courtesy. You don't want to copy much of the curated article. The article as to be used as curated. You just need a paragraph or two. Make sure you're citing the source. But you can work your links into your commentary that either precedes or follows that curated content. I would not change the content whatsoever that you're curating. Okay? So, and that's just a courtesy thing, and I don't know if it's a copyright issue, but I would not even attempt it. Okay? Daniel says, when backlinking to your IFTTT property, should we be linking back to the root domains or post URLs or a combo of both? Well, Daniel, both is great. The problem I have with linking back to the post URLs on the IFTTT properties is it's a lot of work because you have to constantly extract those URLs and then set up new link building campaigns. And so because of that, for an efficiency factor, I only build links back to the root. So the homepage, because that's where the blog roll is anyways, right? And so let's say that it's a WordPress.com site or a blogger site, and 10 posts are going to be on the first page before that starts to paginate, before a post gets pushed off the first page anyways. So I just hammer the hell out of that homepage URL over and over and over again because those posts are going to benefit from that homepage juice until they fall off the first page, but generally by then whatever it is that I'm trying to push juice to has already received juice, and it's already received the benefit of it. So, but to be honest, the best method would be to build links to the post URLs as well as the homepage URL, but again, that requires a ton of additional work, and I don't have the time to do that. So I just build to the homepage URL. If you only have a couple properties that you guys are managing, then by all means you can do that. When you have dozens or even hundreds of properties, it's really not practical. So, why when you click on episode 46 does it show episode 45?
Yeah,
Oh.
Jason got his answer up there.
Okay.
A little early.
Is there anything better for mobile on YouTube than iCards for links back to your websites? Annotations work fine on desktop but not on mobile. As far as I know, Paul, cards are supposed to work. I have not done a lot of testing with them, Paul, so unfortunately I can't really answer your question at this time. I've not done a whole lot of testing on mobile stuff yet. So as far as I know annotations don't work on mobile, but the cards are supposed to, but I don't have enough to be able to know if they do or not. We got a couple more minutes, guys. We'll give it about 3 more minutes. We're going to try to run through this very quickly. Daniel says, YouTube, uploading other people's YouTube videos to your own channel without permission, churn and burn style. How safe is it to use affiliate links, including the affiliate rules themselves? Excluding the affiliate rules themselves. Yeah, I suppose you could, Daniel. If it's churn and burn and you know that going into it, you certainly could. I don't really like the whole churn and burn strategy only because it's a lot of work to have it shut down very easily, and I'd rather work on projects that are going to have longevity. They become assets then. So, I mean, but there's a lot of people make a lot of money with churn and burn. So if that's a strategy that you want to go after, by all means, do it.
Yeah, but just know that, like you're saying, it's called that. You know, you're saying how safe. You know, it's turn and burn. It's called that. The burn is there for a reason. So
Yep, that's right. Are you shaving Adam's beard?
Bradley will not be shaving my beard.
No, I would not.
I don't know. We'll think of something maybe for the 1 year. What do you? Yeah, you guys can. If we can raise like $100 or maybe $250 for a charity of my choice, I'll think about it.
Oh yeah.
That could do.
Yeah, I'll put that out there. Let's see if anybody says anything. If anybody says they donate $5 or $10, I'll think about it.
Good.
Jim Green says he got a YouTube strike after doing a Google Hangout interviewing a local realtor. Do you think her competitors might have complained? Yeah, Jim, and I would dispute that. I would absolutely dispute that because you can probably get that strike removed. It's probably a complete bullshit strike, and you know, YouTube does that sometimes. They'll somebody will complain, flag a video that you did as spam, and it's complete bullshit, and you can fight it. You can actually, you know, dispute it and have it reversed. Okay? I know it's a pain in the ass, but that's probably what happened, Jim. As long as you don't have any copyrighted content or anything like that, you should not have received a strike for that. So I would dispute it. Okay. Praise Jesus! Somebody finally got meta descriptions right.
Thanks, Jason.
That's right. All right, are we done? No, we're almost done. We got to go.
Thank you, Wayne.
Adam Mooney before Semantic Mass.
That's nice. That's a good one.
I'm glad I'm not the only one
That's
getting picked
good.
on anymore.
Yeah, well, I got like Leia from Star Wars the other day. Wayne, we're coming after you, man. I'm gonna spam your profile.
Princess Leia. Yeah, that was great. All right, guys, we need to wrap it up. Masterclass starts in 3 minutes. We'll see everybody there. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week for Hump Day Hangouts episode 47. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks, guys,
Awesome.
for
Have a
helping
good
out.
one.
Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
everybody.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye.